Okay, Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera, very good afternoon everyone. My name is Nik Normadin Hassan. I'm from University Science Malaysia, School of Communication, and I'll be your moderator for today. We actually have 6 presenters, but currently we only have 5. Let's wait for Chelsea from UGM Indonesia to come in. But while waiting for her, what we need to, I need to brief you on certain things. First of all, you are given, each presenter is given 15 minutes to present your work. Okay. After that, we have about 5 minutes for Q&A session. Secondly, we hope that I would like to encourage everyone, all presenters, to be here until 4 p.m. Yeah. I think 2 presenters are going to show their pre-recording session, and the rest are going to do live presentation. Yeah, live presentation. I hope we can finish by 3:55, 5 minutes to 4, because at 4 we are going to have closing ceremony, and we would like to encourage everyone to go to the main hall to officiate, to see the closing ceremony. Yeah, I hope okay, Miss Chelsea is still not here. Let me read the presenter's name first. Yeah, the first one is Dr. Dadang. Dr. Dadang is from University Pajajaran, Bandung, Indonesia. And we have Mr. Aftad Hossain. He is now in Bangladesh. Okay, but Mr. Aftad is PhD student at USM. Number 3, we have Tian Qi Ding. I hope I pronounce it correctly, okay? Tian Qi Ding from China. All right. The 4th one, we have Dr. Muhammad Rakib from USM. Then the 5th one, she's not here, Miss Chelsea Yesicha from Indonesia, UGM Indonesia. And last but not least, we have Bona Ventura, PhD student from University Science Malaysia. Okay, without further ado, I would like to call upon the first presenter, Dr. Dadang, to present his work. Dr. Dadang, you have 15 minutes. Silakan.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay. There, my sound is okay?
Yeah, okay, Doctor.
Okay, yeah. Good afternoon, Dr. Nick and everyone. I'm Dadang Rahmat Hidayat with my partner Abdul Basit, and Mr. Al-Faqih will present a paper on a paper about power relation of television digitalization regulation in Indonesia. Nice to meet you, and I hope everyone is always healthy. Let me share PowerPoint. Okay. Introduction. The plan for digitalization broadcasting in Indonesia has been rolled out since the existence of Law Number 32 of 2002 concerning broadcasting. Since the end of 2012, digital television infrastructures has begun to be built and operated by private multiplexing operators. There are 6 operators in Java and Rio Island. The digital broadcasting system policy raises a legal problem, so many legal problems. In 2020, a Law Number 11 of 2020 concerning job creation, Indonesia Cipta Kerja job creation was issued, which regulates the existence of a digital broadcasting system. The government seems to dominate the role by not really engaging the main broadcasting stakeholder in Indonesia. Problem statement in this paper: the dynamic of broadcasting in Indonesia regarding the migration from analog to digital system is not a simple matter. Tug of war is possible. Participation and involvement of stakeholders is not clearly known, especially where the public is in this regard. It's very important. So the formulation of the problem in this research, how the power relation in regulating the digitalization of television broadcast among broadcasting stakeholders in Indonesia. Research question: how the dynamic of the digitalization of television broadcasting in Indonesia. Second, how the power relation in regulating the digitalization of television broadcasting in Indonesia, and how the impact of digitalization of television broadcasting in Indonesia on the national broadcasting ecosystem and the public interest. Purpose of the study: first, to reveal how the dynamic of digitalization of television broadcasting in Indonesia in the government and the parliament area. To reveal how power relation between agents of power play, their influence in regulating digitalization of television broadcasting in Indonesia, and to reveal how the impact of digitalization of television broadcasting in Indonesia on the national broadcasting ecosystem and public interest. So the methods: this study used a qualitative research method with a case study approach. And the findings, there are 4 findings, the important findings. First, the legal debate regarding the basis for the digitalization on television regulation in Indonesia has been going on for a long time, about 11 years, and there has even been a lawsuit against the judiciary by local television association against the government, and the local television association, they won the lawsuit against the government. These legal disputes are caused by the inadequacy of the existing legal basis and the existence of various conflicts of interest from his stakeholders, the government, businesses, and the public. The digitalization regulation are a means of strengthening their respective influence. Some have a dominant roles and some are marginalized. Government so dominant, and especially public, there are no role, the important roles. Agencies have different interests and ways to gain influence and power, but it's really needed is how to harmonize the use frequency resources. The frequency is limited resources, as we know that, equitably between the government, the television industry, and the public. So this is conclusion. The battle of interest is clearly visible between the government, parliament, the Indonesian Broadcasting Commission or KPI, the television industry, and the public in regulating and implementing broadcast digitalization regulation in Indonesia. The government has dominated the regulation. The parliament has only been used as a stamp, as a stamp for the legalization of digitalization legal product. KPI or Indonesian Broadcasting Commission as a public representation is more of a discussion partner. That can be said to be ignored or has minimal role. The industry has divided position, perspective, and attitudes because of certain business and political interests. The public itself is almost not involved in regulating broadcast digitalization, and potential injustice in the implementation of digitalization must be avoided by opening up public space for all parties, including the local interests, including the special institutions like the for the higher education or the social organization. Thank you. Communications, harmony. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dadang. It's actually very similar scenario in Malaysia, yeah, quite similar scenario.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can we have a question from the floor? Do you have any questions for Dr. Dadang, please?
Yeah.
Any question? Any question? Or maybe I can start off with one question first, Dr. Dadang. Can you explain a little bit more when you talk about various conflict of interest of these stakeholders? What kind of conflict they are having, all these stakeholders?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nick. As we know, in Indonesia, they are the existing station. They are the industry, the existing television industry. So if the digitalization going on, the existing they think will be more funding to involve to implementing the digital system regulation. So so they won't lose any opportunity. So the others, they are the newcomers, especially the local television station. They need the legalization. They need the opportunity for the competition. That's the conflict or differences interest from the existing and the newcomer in industry. So the government needs more space, the limited frequencies to migration or not to migration, the use for the telecommunication. So that's why the analog frequencies, yeah, it will be more efficient if digitalization it happened. So many problem. So that's why the existing they have to migration from analog to the digital. They're more spend money. So the important things, Indonesia, they are the commission, Indonesian Broadcasting Commission. I was there. The ideal position, the Indonesian Broadcasting Commission should be involved for the processing the regulation. So that's why I thought that we think the KPI, IRBC, Indonesian Broadcasting Commission, is not involved. What we call the full intent, not to be involved by government. I think the ideal Indonesian Broadcasting Commission take a good role or important role, or not only just partner for talking about the regulation, yeah, not talking, but how to meet the good regulation. Should be that regulation. It will be assure the good for everything. I think good for everything, especially for public.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dadang. Can we have another question? Would you like to ask Dr. Dadang? Maybe Dr. Din would like to ask because this is his area. Anyone else? We can come back if you don't have question at this moment. We can come back to Dr. Dadang later on. Yeah, we can come back to Dr. Dadang later on.
Dr. Nick,
Yes.
My friend Abdul Basit, maybe you can edit the opinion or something.
Yes, yes, please. The co-author, yeah, yeah, please.
Kalau ada tambahan, silakan Pak Basit.
Okay,
please.
Thank you, Pak Dadang and Dr. Nick. I think the most important is we hope that the community in Indonesia does not become a victim of the regulation, television regulation, digitalization. Television digitalization is must because Dr. Dadang said the frequency will be used for high-speed internet. Without it, Indonesia will be left behind from other countries in terms of technology. But regulation must be fair, not just for industry, but for country and society. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Basit. So I would like to give one more chance to the audience if you have a question to Dr. Dadang or Dr. Basit. Yeah, do you have any question? Dr. Dadang still have time. One minute more. Yeah, 1 minute more. Yeah, if you have any question, please. Anyone? Anyone? You can use microphone or you can use the chat box, please. We have experts as well in this room, actually. Maybe later on, Dr. Dadang, we will come back to you if that is okay. I would like to thank Dr. Dadang and Dr. Basit for this nice presentation. Thank you very much. Okay, next we have Mr. Aftab Hussain, okay, with his co-author, that is Dr. Juliana. So Mr. Aftab as well, you are going to present live, yeah, for this presentation. Yes. All right, over to you, Mr. Aftab. You have 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Just give me a second. Thank you. So I hope it is visible, right?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, thank you. So welcome. So the thing we are working on is conceptualizing cyberbullying among the youth, and it's a systematic literature review on qualitative studies. So first of all, I'm going to briefly discuss that cyberbullying is an global phenomena, and especially the youth are suffering with this, both in mentally and physically, and the young people are developing. It is difficult to develop their psychological development if they are the victim of cyberbullying. In some cases, it is more harmful than the school bullying, the traditional school bullying, and it's challenging for all the teachers, policymakers, our parents, peers, for all. If a child or a young person in the family or in the school is suffering with the cyberbullying issues. So what is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is basically it is in the correlation with the traditional bullying. It is intention to harm someone, intends to harm someone others, repetition of the harmful act. It could be one time or repetition, and the power imbalance. Use the knowledge of ICT. If someone has the more knowledge on on ICT, they can be more powerful in this act. The perpetrator could be powerful in this act because he or she has a knowledge of ICT. But the scholarly world is still not together to define the cyberbullying issues and cyberbullying. So there is a need of conceptualizing. So I have many researchers, they have studied on what the youth or the young people, they think about cyberbullying. How do they react on cyberbullying? So I have synthesized all the qualitative studies to find out total outcome, a synthesized outcome, that what do the young people think. So this is a systematic literature review. And the research gap, actually, most of the studies are based on quantitative studies. So the qualitative studies, they can actually get the exact things from the participants. So, and it is more detailed. So I have covered all the qualitative studies. So what actually they think to conceptualize cyberbullying, the young people. So the characteristics of the cyberbullying were collected from their thinking, from the thinking of the young people. So the significance of the study is its meta-ethnography, and it is from the qualitative studies. From all the qualitative studies were collected. 13 studies were collected from 12 countries. So it covered almost everything, including Asia, Africa, and Americas, Europe. So we have tried to collect everything. And meta-ethnography is what is meta-ethnography? Meta-ethnography, it translates and interprets the thoughts of the participants and as well as the researchers. So we have tried to get the thoughts of from the both end in the meta-ethnography method. And literature search and inclusion method, our target was to get the people from 10 to 24 years old, and mixed samples studies were omitted because to establish the homogeneous sample, only qualitative studies were included, and also the articles were written only in English, and peer-reviewed and published in journals were collected. And even the quantitative studies with qualitative approach, like open-ended questions, were also omitted because those are quantitative. So we have tried to get only quantitative data, qualitative data from around the world in last 10 years. So we have tried to get the publications or the journals, articles from the Web of Science and Scopus index. And apart from this, we have tried to search in the databases with these keywords: young people cyberbullying, adolescent cyberbullying, and from 2011 to 2020, the 10 years of data. And also after those, these 5 journals, New Media and Society, Computers in Human Behavior, Cyber Psychology, Behavior, and Social Networking, these 5 giant journals were also searched individually, hands-on. So we have got most of the articles from there, and the databases, 13 of the studies. So the data inclusion method was like this, using the Prisma flowchart diagram. So you can see this. At first we have got 4,889 and 93 documents from different journals, and by the step by step, by following the Prisma flow diagram method, we have finally came to include 13 studies. And in those 13 studies, 532 participants shared their experience. There were experimental studies, there were phenomenological studies, and in-depth interview. All these and FGDs were also included. So the study characteristics were defined by this, like this. We have made a table. I didn't include the entire table here. So this is a sample of the study characteristics definition. And what were the studies, you can find in the real actual article. And quality appraisal was also included. So all these studies were all these 13 studies has gone through the different 10 questions, the quality appraisal method, and they have gone through the questions. Was there a clear statement of the aim, the qualitative method was there, or the strategy, and the what was the data analysis process? All of this were here, and including the ethical issues. So the data analysis were used in QSR NVivo 12 software, and it was thematically analyzed using codes and prospective categories. And both of the researchers used their experiences and their opinions, and we had some differences, and we came out with a solution together. So as a result, we found 4 core themes, the 4 core themes in addition to sub themes, to get the what the young people thinks about cyberbullying. And these findings were actually conceptualized what the young people think, not the scholars think. Scholars has a different opinion on this, and young people has some new addition to this. So in findings, I'm going to discuss the theme 1, the social media dominance. Where the scholar says that ICT based tools, like even email, but the young people, they say they are mostly using social media, and they are concerned about social media, not only not about emails or other things. The social media dominance, especially the Facebook and Instagram, they are mostly involved, and sometimes they prefer social media because it's fun and it's free and interactive medium rather than other ICT mediums. And they are more concerned about their personality on Facebook rather than their real life. This is I'm going to be look like in the social media. So they post photos and their things all over the world. The situation is same. They're more concerned about their Facebook world or virtual world rather than their actual life, or and it is a part of their life. So the second theme was found was perpetration, different perpetration. So intention to bully online. Some people thinks, some of the participants, they think that intention, if they cannot bully someone in face-to-face, they try to bully some those people with a mask on, because it is anonymous. So bullying online is much more safe in the term of bullying, traditional bullying, school bullying. And outsider peoples, they actually sometimes ignite that, look, he's doing this. I think his status means something related to you. So they ignite the things, and people fight online, and the third party, the bystanders, they actually take the fun by igniting the fights. And mostly we have found that the revenge, sometimes the revenge, even in the classroom results, the grades reflect, as someone has got lower grades, they try to take revenge on the good students. We have found that. And most of the times it is friendly banter. They think like, I have made a fun of my friend, and my friend takes it easy. We have to remember, cyberbullying is cyberbullying until someone claims as a victim. If the other person is other person says it is a friendly gesture, so it's okay, it's not a cyberbullying at all. In theme 3, the consequences we have found, connection to their real life, they have found. The participants said that so if they were bullied in the virtual life, they connect it into the real life, and sometimes it gets into the real fight as a result of cyberbullying. And it is not only damaging the health and psychological health of the victims, also the perpetrators has some impact. People hate the perpetrators, so they have some also damaging impact. And in this case, the victims sometimes starts to bully the perpetrator. So the victim also becomes a bully as a consequence. And in the theme 4, the dealing, how do they deal? Some people just ignores. We have found it most in Asian countries. They have tried to ignore, and they just don't give any feedback. And in the Europe and Americas, in the global north, we have found that they try to, some of the participants, the young people, they think that netiquette should be formalized in the school academic thing. So what should we do and what we shouldn't do, it should be formalized in our academic thing. And social ecological support, like family and friends, peers, school policy, and medias, all should be more supportive towards the victims, so we can all find a solution. And the perpetrators must be not be punished. They should be trained that it is perpetrating, because most of the perpetrators doesn't know that he or she is a perpetrator. They think it's just a fun. So in the discussion part, I will just shortly discuss that the family and environment, the cultural things are also important. As we have found, the Asian countries like in Malaysia, Indonesia, these studies were found that the young people, they take it as a part of their daily life. The cyberbullying, they just don't take it seriously. Where the global north is, they take it more seriously, and they have more psychological impact rather than the Asian countries. So some of the young people, they don't take it seriously, and some of them even try to suicide. There are so many cases in suicide, including in Bangladesh, my country. But
you have 2 more minutes, Mr.
Yes,
Aftab.
I'm already done. The studies should be done in South Asian countries. No qualitative studies were done in South Asian countries, so it should be done in South Asian countries. So that's all from me now, and the list of references is here, so you can all see here from here. If there is any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Mr. Aftab. Can we take question from the floor, please? Does anyone have any question, please? Please, you can use your microphone or you can write in the chat box. Anyone? Anyone? Mr. Aftab, maybe you can stop sharing first.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any question?
Thank you.
Right. Any question? Yes. Any question? Silakan.
Okay, ada.
Please, Dr. Dadang.
Okay. I think research Dr. Aftab and Professor Juliana, yeah. This research is very interesting. Good for the future research.
Thank you.
In my opinion, so many research about the cyberbullying. Several studies mention the causes of cyberbullying. Like the rapid improvement about development of technology, or teenagers' ignorance of legal risks. Behavior that likes to imitate and has weakened social control. This is not the question, but this is just for sharing. I think I very appreciate this research. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you. Actually,
Thank you.
Last year, one of my students' cousin suicided because of the body shaming over online. His school friends actually took his clothes off and he was a little bit healthy or fat. So they took photos and took it in the and videos and posted in YouTube and Facebook. And because of that, that kid, the 13-year-old kid, had to commit suicide. So it is an issue because most of them, the others think it is fun, but the fun for others is not good for the victim.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dadang, for sharing your thoughts, and also Mr. Aftab. I have one quick question. Based on this systematic review, what is the major significant gap, research gap that you have already found out?
Okay, the gap is actually there is the quality the quantitative studies, they don't reflect the actual things, because in the quantitative studies the researchers has the option to ask questions, but in the qualitative studies we can find the actual things and different point of views from different participants. So in this issue, the gap is we don't have a concrete idea about cyberbullying, because the scholars, they think that they have only 4 things: the use of ICT the ICT issues, the power imbalance, these things. But in this study, we have found that the social media dominance and what kind of perpetration, even the love revenge, the love affair revenge, these things don't come in quantitative studies or other studies. So in this study, the research gap found out these things in detail. Even people in love, the revenge is another platform of cyberbullying.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Aftab. Thank you very much for great presentation. And now we have the third presenter. He is from China. I would like to invite Mr. Tian P. Deng. You have 15 minutes. Can Mr. Mawi play the pre-recorded presentation?
I use pre-recorder. My network is not very good. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. We are doing it for you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deng Tianqi. It's my great honor to attend this conference. My research topic is deconstructing techno-orientalism, a study of Western media's discourse of the other when reporting East Asia's anti-pandemic efforts. This presentation is mainly composed of 4 parts, namely problem statement, research methods and problems, research findings and conclusions. First, the first part, which is mainly a literature review. In the international community, the image that a country presents is crucial. The image of a country is the public perception and evaluation of its political, economic, social, cultural, and geographical conditions within and outside the country. Thus, it can be argued that Eastern countries are at a disadvantage in the global political and power heritage, and that their cultural coherence is threatened. Orientalism has 2 branches, traditional Orientalism and techno-Orientalism. Techno-Orientalism is an Orientalist discourse of power knowledge structures established by Western hegemony on a global scale. From the perspective of techno-Orientalism, Asians were stereotyped during the pandemic as technologically advanced, but morally and ideologically primitive. Next, the research methods and problems are discussed. International news involving the regional image of East Asian should be viewed as cultural discourse in which multiple factors such as language, cultural, history, and politics play a role. And in the current international heritage dominated by the West, exists extensive inter-regional, interstate, and intercultural competition and cooperation in international media discourse. This study will examine the news test of Western media on East Asians' fight against the pandemic through cultural discourse analysis. In order to identify the common methods used by Western media to shape the image of East Asian and to construct East Asian as the other. This study hopes to find answers to the following two questions. How did Western mainstream media portray East Asian during the COVID-19 pandemic? How did mainstream Western media use discursive strategy to shape the image of East Asian in the fight against the pandemic? Then we will move on to the findings section, and there are three main findings. The first one, freely given information in East Asia, is human rights first in Western discourse. Please see example 1. The author of the above report tried to present a dominized image of the Chinese government who use big data to maintain an authoritarian regime, ignore the great benefits big data brought about in terms of social development and disease control, and took the moral high ground to instigate dissatisfaction with China in the international community. The mention of Chinese government's regular surveillance in places such as train stations and airport was intended to arouse fear among the international public and intensify the stereotypes about China's anti-pandemic efforts. Number 2, East Asians collectivism. The Western media's individualist discourse. Please see example 3. When mentioning collectivism which helped East Asian countries fight against the pandemic, Western media have always tried to portray a traditional patriarchal state. East Asian societies are hierarchical and homogeneous. For lack of an understanding of collectivism in East Asian societies, Western media assume that the efficient implementation of policies in East Asian society was due to government oppressions and authoritarianism, ignoring the willingness of Eastern Asian people to follow social rules. Number 3, save the people in East Asian, and save the economy in Western media's discourse. Please see example 5. Asian countries have experienced numerous pandemics and natural disasters in the past, so they tend to prioritize life when facing virus emergencies. A common tactic of Western media is to use dichotomous thinking and pit anti-pandemic efforts against economic development, acknowledging East Asia's success while claiming that these countries have paid a heavy economic price. At the same time, Western media glorify the less rigorous anti-pandemic policies of Western countries and their emphasis on economic growth. The last part is the conclusion. Structural frameworks exist in how Western media report East Asians' fight against the pandemic. Deficiencies in facts or examples. Their report rely on a series of rhetorical strategies such as questioning, comparison, and assumption from the perspective of techno-orientalism. That is to say, without such discursive strategy, techno-orientalism is invalid. However, it is wrong to generalize Western media's report on East Asians' anti-pandemic efforts as techno-orientalism. It is worth noting that the main purpose of this rhetorical strategy used by Western media is to prove Western centralism and Oriental backwardness. East Asia has its unique historic, cultural, and traditions, so we shouldn't equate its anti-pandemic response with techno-orientalism from the perspective of Western centralism. The East Asian cultural traditions of harmony in diversity and pursuit of grand harmony under the sky are conducive to right interpretation of East Asia's efforts against the pandemic. Western media should also take into account its history, traditions, and social development, and adopt a neutral and unbiased attitude when reporting on East Asia. That's all for my research. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deng Tianqi.
Thank you very much, Tian Ki Deng. So again, my job here is just hoping that anyone here in this room can ask questions to the presenter. Anyone would like to ask questions? Please.
Me, that me.
Pak Bona, silakan.
Yeah. Hi, Tianki. How are you?
Hi.
My name is Bona from Indonesia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think your research is very interesting. Yeah. I just want to know what kind of method do you use for the research? Content analysis, maybe?
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Oh yeah. I just want to know about your methodology. Yeah. What kind of method research do you use? Qualitative content analysis, maybe?
Yes, it's about cultural discourse.
Oh, cultural discourse, yeah.
Yes, cultural discourse is not traditional Western discourse analyze. It's China's named a researcher named Shi Xu. His methodologies. Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay. I see. Thank you. Just only I just want to know about your method research.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nick.
Thank you, Pak Bona. Any more questions, please?
Yes, Doctor. Hi, Tiangi. It was a very
hello.
Hi, could you please just briefly explain about your samples, or how did you get the data?
Yes, that simple was a BBC and CNN and some Australia media's sample. In my paper, that's all in my papers. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is Tian Ki. So this is TV. The samples, the research samples are TV news or newspapers or.
Yes, that's internet news.
Internet news. Okay,
yes.
Like a news portal. You mean news portal?
Yes.
Right. Okay, news portal. Actually, we already, like people like in Malaysia in this region. Actually, you know, there's a lot of international news from Western countries. Actually, there's a lot of how do I say is imbalance reporting made by them. As for example, in Malaysia, we are currently in our pandemic, third wave pandemic. So even they still overseas newspapers like writing about, you know, about how the government, Malaysian government is so crucial during the lockdown. So we receive that as well. It's not in China, it's also for Malaysia. I can see Dr. Konstantin would like to ask question. Yes, please, doctor. Go ahead.
Yes. I can't hear it. Sorry. Yes.
You are muted. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you for your paper. Very interesting. I want to ask one question.
Yes, thank you, please.
The Western media,
yes,
that the virus started in China.
Yes.
From people eating bats. What do you think? What is the truth?
The influence of Western media is still relative strong in the world. Eastern Asian country need to shape their own image rather than let the Western media shape their own image. I think it. Thank you.
But what happened with COVID? How did COVID start, according to China?
China, I can, if not, I can got it. Use VPN. Thank you. In the China, if it's not if it's not LH, I can use VPN to get Western media's news. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Konstantin.
Yeah.
We have another one more question from Dr. Rakib for you, Tianki. There's a lot of questions for you actually. Is it true COVID-19 came from eating bats? In the chat box, yeah, is it true? Yeah, COVID-19 came from eating bats.
Yes, it's
in the chat room.
True, COVID-19 came from eating bats. Sorry, I don't know eating bats meaning.
Can I answer? Okay, thank you. I have another.
No.
Yes.
No.
The COVID-19, the SARS-CoV-2 was carried by bats, and these exotic foods were actually in the market. It came from the bat market. The person who caught the bat at first, he got positive. The first person who got positive, it's a bat market in Wuhan, and later China has banned these exotic foods. As far I know, according to
I think the question, which was my question as well, has to do with what does the Chinese media say, not what happened in reality. Yeah, because you don't know either. I don't know either. Okay, so the question is what the Chinese say. If the Western media say one side, what does the Chinese media say on the other side? That's what I wanted to know.
Dr. Konstantin was asking what did Chinese media write about COVID-19?
It's sorry, I want to.
Okay, it's okay, Tianki. We have few other presenters would like to present. Maybe Dr. Konstantin, that's very good question. Maybe you guys can write to each other to clarify things. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Tianki Deng from China. So we have next presenter. This is from Malaysia. I would like to call upon Dr. Muhammad Rakib to present your work for 15 minutes. Over to you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So today I'm going to present you a topic about interfaith. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, can.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So today we are going to discuss about interfaith conflict discourse in Malaysia, a study on newspapers reporting on Indira Gandhi's legal battle. So this paper I'm co-authored with Rizky Brandana, my colleague from Mercu Buana University, and also my supervisor, Associate Professor Azman Azwan Azmawati. All right. So basically, for for the introduction. Yeah, I know right now the hot topic is about COVID-19, but then in Malaysia, issues regarding inter-religious conflict is still relevant. Yeah. Okay, so in recent years, Malaysia has been embroiled with religious conflicts that cause fractions among its citizens, and most of the conflicts involve Islam, which is generally known as the official religion of the country. So basically, in Malaysia, the official religion is Islam, but then other religions can also be practiced, without freely. I mean, they can be practiced freely in this free country. Okay, so Malaysia consists of multi-ethnic and religions, and in terms of the population, 60% of us, 60% of the Malaysian citizens are Malay Muslims, while the remaining consists of other ethnics, which include Chinese, Indians, and also the people of Sabah and Sarawak. Okay, so when we discuss about inter-ethnic conflicts in the Malaysian context, we have to also discuss about the process of Islamization. Okay, basically Islamization in Malaysia, we consist of various polemics and religious policies, developed by the government. Okay, and they have been highlighted without considering the views and reaction of non-Muslim societies in Malaysia. Okay, and one of the factors that also developed these government policies that regards to Islamization, it also involved the competition or the rivalry between two most influential political parties in Malaysia, between UMNO. I mean, UMNO is the most prominent political party in Barisan Nasional, the previous government. Okay, and also PAS, also an Islamic party that also fight for Islam, so-called fight for Islam in Malaysia. So because of this rivalry, the Islamization in Malaysia is becoming salient in the public sphere, and also because of Islamization, the minorities, they tend to feel marginalized by the government policies set up by the previous government or Barisan Nasional. Okay, and also because of the Islamization process, several reports on inter-religious conflicts, especially among those involving Muslims and Islam, gain the attention of the Malaysian press. Conflict issues related to Islam will be discussed in the newspapers with different inclination. And also, you like it or not, when we discuss about conflicts, this type of news are often influenced by the ownership of the media organization, and media is used by the government, and basically, especially the mainstream media, as a hegemonic tool to control the minds of the citizens. Apart from making profits, the government control media, for example, in Malaysia, Utusan Malaysia, we have Berita Harian, we have The Star, okay, News Straits Times, have certain ideologies that they need to subtly delineate to the masses for them to be able to maintain the existing order, or what we call it as status quo. And because of this hegemonic process, hegemonic crises can also occur, and counter-hegemonic actions are reflected in the action of the masses that have grown emboldened to publicly voice their opinions. And this scenario has expanded with the emergence of online news portals. So that is why in my study here, it's okay, later I will discuss what are my samples. Okay, so objective, basically, therefore, this paper aims to study how a controversial issue involving Islam is reported by 3 newspapers in Malaysia, which in this context, I'm going to present to you a study refers to the conversion of M. Indira Gandhi's 3 children to Islam. So this Indira Gandhi, nothing to do or nothing to relates to the Mahatma Gandhi. Please bear in mind. Because, for example, when I ask my students, who is M. Indira Gandhi, basically they will say that, oh, she's the daughter of Mahatma Gandhi. So please don't be confused. Okay, so this is the case study. Basically, in 2009, a Muslim convert with the name of Muhammad Ridwan Abdullah converted his 3 children to Islam from his civil marriage to a Hindu wife, M. Indira Gandhi, without her consent, before going to the Sharia court to obtain the custody over them. However, I mean, Indira Gandhi, she pushed this case to the court. At first, they went to the Court of Appeal, and then lastly in the federal court, then the federal court has cleared up the confusion by declaring that the unilateral conversion of the children was unlawful, null, and void. And this case happened before the General Election 14 in 2018. Okay. All right. So when we talk or when we discuss about conflict reporting or newspaper reporting, we have to also discuss about newspaper ownership in Malaysia. So basically, before general election 14 in 2018, the media organization in Malaysia primarily or basically they are controlled by the government political parties. For example, Utusan Malaysia was controlled by UMNO. Media Firma, one of the biggest investment wing in Malaysia, also controlled by UMNO. Okay, and then we have also MCA, the component party of Barisan Nasional. They control. They are the major stakeholder of the STAR, and also we have and as we can see here, among the political economy scholars in Malaysia, Zaharom Naim, Mustafa Ki Anwar, Wang Lei Kim, Mahyuddin Ahmad, they concluded that the major newspaper in Malaysia before the 2000 election, tended to report that bias to the policies made by the previous government. And it also includes any reporting policies that regards to Islam. Okay, so again, I also discussed a bit about how the rise of Malaysia Kini. So basically Malaysia Kini is an online portal. Okay, it's an online portal, and as you can see here, based on the previous literature reviews, Malaysia Kini are deemed to be accurate, updated, diverse, and independent, and they always try to discuss in their discourse regarding restricted and taboo topics in the Malaysian context. And Malaysia Kini is so-called as alternative newspaper, and they are so-called as independent, not connected to any political party or commercial interest, unlike its mainstream counterparts. Okay, basically for the methodology, I use content analysis and also thematic analysis. For example, I used some of the techniques when I did the research. I used Van Dyke 2006. He also used CDA, critical discourse analysis in terms of the ideology. Okay, so I use some of his elements also into my study. Okay, so I did a reliability test for the quantitative content analysis, and it's more than 0.75 in terms of the Kornbach alpha for the consistency. Okay, so for the content analysis, I only do a research for two categories. That is for slangs and also for the source used. And for these samples, there are 3-month samples from January 2018 until March 2018. Okay, so why I chose Utusan Malaysia? Basically because of the STAR and also Malaysia Kini. Basically because they have different ownership. One controlled by UMNO, a component party of the Barisan Nasional. The STAR, also a mainstream media, controlled by MCA, one of the major stakeholders, and also Malaysia Kini, so-called independent. Okay, and also because of different ideologies, Utusan Malaysia, they mentioned that they are fighting for the Malays and Islam. The STAR, they are fighting for the moderation, and so Malaysia Kini, they are fighting for independent reporting. And also they have different target audience. Okay, and yeah. And in terms of the result and discussion, as you can see here, out of the 106 news articles, the STAR newspaper published 47 news articles. Utusan Malaysia only 16, and also Malaysia Kini 43 news articles. Source use, basically for the STAR, okay, they refer a lot to moderate Islamic organizations, and figures, for example, Siti Kasim, Sisters in Islam, the group G25, and also the former minister of Datuk Zaid Ibrahim. So if you want to know more, you can, inshallah, hopefully we can read in my full paper. Okay, and mostly, and also others are mostly support the decision made by the court. The authorities, basically, they refer a lot to the police in coming out with statement regarding Ridwan Abdullah, and also Indra Gandhi, and also her families. That's one. And then for Utusan, basically the Islamic NGOs, they refer a lot to Islamic NGOs that disagreed with the court's decision on the matter. And also for Utusan, I can see that they did not refer to any of the ministers in coming out with what we call it, with the decision, coming out with explanation or opinions regarding the decision by the court. Okay, the Malay ministers, they didn't want to talk anything through Utusan Malaysia, and also they refers to academicians that incline to reject the decision the court's decision. Sorry, and also the last one, Malaysia Kini, they mostly refer to public, because Malaysia Kini, they love to publish letters from the public. They love to publish opinions pieces from the public. And also they have this column, Yossi. Basically, they publish all the comments given by the public in their news online portal. And mostly, and the other also, they also refer mostly to them who supported the court decision. Okay. So in terms of the direction, okay, sorry. In terms of the direction or slant of the news, basically all of them they publish more neutral articles. Yeah, but then other than neutral news, Utusan Malaysia publish more on supporting Ridwan Abdullah, while Malaysia Kini and the Star publish more articles opposing Indira Gandhi's cerdas conversion, or what we can say that they support the court's decision. Yeah, and then the teams by the Star, basically the Star newspaper praised the federal court's decision, which denied the previous court's decision that allowed the conversion of children to Indira Gandhi. And the Star was seen criticizing Islamic religious authorities, but then they did not criticize any government parties or any government ministers, but they only criticizing Islamic religious authorities. And also they discuss about Sharia law should play subservient role to the civil court, because in Malaysia, civil court is the supreme law. Okay, and then we have the team by Utusan. The main topic of discussion was whether the Malaysia government should elevate the Sharia court to the level of the civil court. And also Utusan was requesting the court's decision to be reviewed. Okay, but then in these articles, usually this Utusan Malaysia, they will mention that, we respect the court's decision, but then we request for the court to review the decision. And the last one, the teams by Malaysia Kini, they praise the decision made by the federal court judges. They criticize the government and the police for failing to fight for the fate of a woman, Indira Gandhi here, because Ridwan Abdullah, his ex-husband, is still free until now, and he also kidnapped the youngest child of the family. Okay, and the last one, they criticize various parties, particularly Islamic NGO groups and past political party who question the court's decision. Okay, and the conclusion based on the findings, it can be concluded that every newspaper in the study has its own style and preference in reporting on conflict issues regarding Islam. And the findings indicate that Utusan, as a mainstream newspaper owned by UMNO, is still attempting to use traditional narratives to maintain the status quo and defend Malay supremacy and Islamic hegemony. Okay, and so for the Star, which was also owned by the government component party, took a moderate approach in their reporting on this issue. Okay, however, Malaysia Kini is seen as being brave to criticize Barisan Nasional, including ministers who were accused of failing to defend women's and religious rights. That refers to Indira Gandhi. These demonstrate that Malaysia Kini is used by the public as an alternative medium to provide alternative perspectives in its reporting. That's all, I think. Thank you so much for listening, and yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rakib. Can you please uncheck now? Right, very interesting, very interesting. This always happen in multiculturalism society like Malaysia and Indonesia. Others, would you like to ask question to Dr. Rakib? Okay. Your network bandwidth is low. Okay, you have any question?
Okay.
Anyone who have question, please post a question to Dr. Rakib.
Okay.
Dr. Dadang, please.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Rakib,
yes.
Interesting research on media content analysis, I think, in Malaysia. From that research, can it be considered which media is more objective? Is more objective.
Okay. All right.
Gives a clear picture to the public regarding the cases raised, and even provides what you call, or we call that, provide the multicultural education through media. Please.
Okay, thank you, Pak Dadang. So basically, based on my study, actually in my thesis also, this topic is actually one of my case studies for my thesis, for my PhD thesis. But then I have taken out. But then rather than I just waste it, that's why I discuss and also present in this conference. So based on my research, 6 case studies that I had done, actually, if you want to have an objective reporting regarding religion or also conflicts regarding religion or races in Malaysia, I can say that, you know, I can say that we can depend on 2 newspapers based on my study. Yeah, I cannot say about other news media organizations, but then I can say that the Star is quite objective. Yeah, the Star is quite objective. Just that, you know, in my conclusion, I mentioned that, you know, they tend to do not criticize the ministers or anyone who has this relation with the government. Yeah, and also basically they are quite objective. They give various views, yeah, regarding the issues that has been discussed. It's just that, and also basically they are quite berani. They have this courage to touch on several sensitive topics regarding Islam. They use several words. For example, when they label the NGO, Islamic NGO, they mention them as extremists, religious bigots, you know, pelampau, you know, religious bigots, and also they refer them as what are the words? I couldn't remember. But then, you know, this sort of like giving a very bad perception to the audience regarding Islam. Okay, so I think that is the finding that I have got from my analysis. Malaysia kini, yes, they are being very objective, but then they are also very, you know, vocal in their reporting. Yes, Pak Dadang.
Thank you. Rakib, is there any more question?
Dr. Nick. Hi, Dr. Nick.
Pak Dadang,
Hi, Dr. Rakib.
ask more question. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Rani, silakan.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nick. Dr. Rakib.
Yes.
Actually, this topic is very near to me, this topic actually, because this, I just want to share something. I'm not going to ask you any question.
Good.
Okay, this Indira Gandhi case happened in Ipoh, Malaysia, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this thing, why I say this issue is near to me, because I used to cover this topic.
Okay.
Yeah, my kampong actually. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mahidin. My kampong, I used to cover this topic, and I'm the pioneer journalist who covered this topic back then, before I become journalist. I mean, sorry, a lecturer in USM. So from the day one, I'm following this news. From the how this Indira Gandhi struggle to get the justice for herself, how she tried to the society that whatever happened to her is very bad actually, and until now I can feel that she, as a mother, is very sad because she cannot meet her younger daughter until now. When they snatch over the daughter from her, that time I think the daughter is around 3 months old or 6. I'm quite not that sure.
Yeah.
Until now, she didn't meet her youngest daughter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though court ruling that she can, she have the rights to take back the daughter, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This, I feel something wrong with our system, especially from police department.
Yeah.
Okay, we can we can see lot of big case, we can solve it, but for this case, only one missing person case, we still cannot serve the justice for this mother. And I know this Indira Gandhi's house also. Every time I pass by her house, I feel so bad for her. I don't know until when she must like go through this painful process as a mother to what you call separate away from the daughter. So Rakib, actually I'm quite happy because your research, I'm here to police could not even find such Dr. Mahidin. Okay, so I'm happy you did research about her, and hopefully one day she will get her right as some other. Thank you, Rakib. Thank you, Dr. Nik.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Dr.
Thank you
Mahir.
very much.
Saja pun kita
Thank
tak
you.
boleh lupa. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rani, for sharing that. And I would like to thank Dr. Rakib for interesting presentation. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So let's not waste much more time. I would like to call Ms. Chelsea Yesicha from UGM, Universitas Gajah Mada, to present her work. Please, Ms. Chelsea.
Thank you.
You can share your PowerPoint, please.
Okay. You can see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Please go ahead.
The voice.
Ms. Chelsea. Ms. Chelsea, we cannot hear you. Chelsea.
It's already play.
We cannot hear you actually. Are you playing the PowerPoint?
Yeah. Just a minute.
We cannot hear you. Can others hear? Can others?
No.
No, yeah, we
No.
cannot hear you.
Okay, okay.
Maybe she has to click the button to share audio.
Okay,
Okay, you need to click. Yeah, we cannot hear.
You need to share the audio when you click share the screen.
Does anyone see it?
No, we cannot hear. We cannot hear it.
It's already played.
Can you present? Yeah. No, we cannot hear. We cannot hear.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's.
Do you have anyone who can help you over there? Or can you present it live?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Please. Okay. Are you okay? Can you play now, please?
I already played.
No, we cannot hear. Can Bu Chelsea boleh present secara langsung? Kami tak boleh dengar.
Tidak bisa dengar. Okay.
Yeah, can you present secara langsung?
Okay.
Boleh ke?
Bentar. Saya Okay, I'll try to present.
Present secara langsung saja boleh ke?
Boleh sebentar. From University of Riau, and I'm a doctoral student of Media and Cultural Study in University of Gajah Mada.
Kami tak berapa dengar, tak dengar.
From University of
Kuatkan
Gajah
lagi,
Mada,
kuatkan lagi.
Dr. Sugeng Wahyono from University of Negeri Yogyakarta.
Lagi.
Present my article, The True Reality of Religious Practice in Agama dan Wabah Penyakit. The COVID-19 pandemic causes many problems globally, ranging the health, economy, society, and even religion. In the religious sphere, the adverse effect of COVID-19 is considered the most difficult until it is declared a very dangerous virus. It takes an extraordinary approach to touch the logic of the people who always hold fast to believe it. The polemic in religious environment becomes strained when the war safety saves society through social restriction and the afterlife salvation by carrying out our religious order while avoiding. On the religious social line, people always celebrate religious ritual performs together, like Friday prayers, holy celebration, and other worship. There is nothing wrong with the religious ritual activity, but the spare of COVID-19 is effective when gathering and physical gathering occur. In fact, the virus takes human lives, change human interaction, and take away the process of human interaction with God. This situation becomes sensitive to be reported in depth because the threat of COVID-19 and the recommendation not to perform ritual collectively are not easily achieved by the Indonesian people. But Watchdog produced it to a collection of documentaries and COVID-19 video series. One of the documentaries with the title
Miss Chassie, we cannot hear you.
Okay. The Watchdog post documentary in April 17, 2020. It's successful, watched by 30,110 viewers with the 42,000 likes and dislikes. Who is the Watchdog? Watchdog is kind of a production house, but it's also a activist documentary. He used the alternative media as like a YouTube to be a public space to open the issue, to blow the issue, social, politics, and environment. And it also be a counter-hegemony news to the media conventional and the government. They always perform with the watchdog idealism. The ritual execute the masses forced to turn into individual. The closures of several houses of worship and the distrust of the people and dangers of the virus that become interesting page in this field. Documentary is part of journalism product, but it's quite telling the truth, so the filmmakers need to conceptually the apa masih kedengaran?
The truth in order to distrust by the audience. In this article, I used text analysis to it used critical paradigm with the text analysis approach to uncover meaning based on Bill Nicholas' 4 point of the true view. It is institution, actor, text, and audience. The purpose of the investigative film varieties through the various text, audio, visual, and there are an ideology dimension and the subjective of the truth. Religious film and disease outbreaks use framing data taken from the Watchdog documentary YouTube account. Secondary data comes from literature review, including various interview forums from Watchdog webinars. The result, Watchdog as institution engaged of the documentary activists and the social movement related the idea of independent of social political content, so that he worked often centered on specific issue and politic domain. The freedom of the movement of criticize the issue and this made it the fact as production house is more interesting than being a body of NGOs or media that be easy clash with the regulation or politic of the state power. An interview with the executive production Dandi Wulaksono started the COVID-19 series include the film Agama dan Wabah Penyakit is or Watchdog original product. This is the actor of the wabah dan agama dan wabah penyakit. The true point of view based of competent author information to present the audience to be critical and understanding the causes of the prohibition, the practice of worship during the pandemic. They are Agus Surono, Catholic, Afifuddin, Muslim, Safri Lewis, historian, J.J. Rizal, historian, Pastor Darwin Darmawan from Indonesian Christian Church, and Zainal Abakir from CRCS UGM. The text, making a documentary of just from interview, a legitimate source of the information is our experience, new fact that people, story, and research. This is the Watchdog present factually with the videographic and graphic storyline based on their collected documentation. The next. And this is the goal sorted, the storyline illustrated the truth of the event summary. The audience, the truth of the audience point of view began to build from the background of the audience opposite and inheriting the ban of mass worship during the pandemic become the basis of polemic in this film. Watchdog determine the relationship with the audience through the direction of the justification of the intent idea of the text. The narrator's speech style facilitates the relationship between the beheading of image and voiceover to keep the story intact and sequence. So the single plot pattern makes the audience no longer troubled by understanding the direction story message in the film. Watchdog ideologi packing artistik agama dan wabah penyakit. The claim of truth enforces the purpose of documentary is interestingly important. The emergence of religions documentary and disease outbreaks relates to serious topic and social problem significant affect to public-oriented information. The watchdog is visual to make it easier to convince people even through documentaries need avoid disturbing related the ethic issue. Documentaries of the worship's journey as in the Asia each meeting containing narrative challenging against the coronavirus become a part of confrontation in this document COVID-19 video series. The opening end is more pronounced when the film is screened. The conclusion. Watchdog climb the truth by open rationalities and realize that the reality of COVID meanings tasting faith to strengthen themselves with their role as the documentary activist to advocate people. Knowledge and experienced actor who has competent become subjective through and reviewing the history of various previous pandemic, emphasizing the rationality of the words during the pandemic and an approach understanding how dangers of COVID-19. The emphasis of text and visuality is key of the true present in the documentary through narrative and voiceover character during virtual interview and storyline of the spirit of COVID-19 in religious practice through image and videography. Through primary target audience for Watchdog is a party and that is constructed. It is present through artistic creativity with fostering trust in the true in the documentary of COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for attention. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous.
Thank you very much, Chelsea. Can you unshare? Yeah, thank you very much. Can we get at least one very pressing question from the audience? Because we have another one presenter. Any question? Any quick question? Please. Any question? No question? Sorry, my internet connection is unstable. Chelsea, are you here? Okay, any question from the audience? Any question? Pak Bona, would you like to ask question? Please go ahead.
Hi, Pak Bona.
Okay, all right. Actually, I just want you to clarify a little bit. You are actually looking at documentary with this topic, you know, with the topic of agama and wabah penyakit, yeah?
Yeah, it's true.
Right. So what is one very significant finding that you have already found?
The other side, Watchdog always produce the critical documentaries to control the government or as a speaker of the marginal urban society.
Right.
But in these films, in this COVID-19 series, and agama dan wabah penyakit is different. They're being to be as a campaign to resist people to not obey the rule of the government policy making.
Right. Okay, what was it about Malaysia? Just now you showed a quick video about Malaysia and in Sri Petaling. What is it about?
There is a gathering ritual religion in Malaysia, and then after the ritual, there is a couple of virus member is identical for COVID-19.
Okay, that's all. Yeah, that's true. That happens. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Chelmy, for your presentation. Yeah, very much for your presentation. Now, we would like to call upon the last but not least presenter, that is Mr. Bonaventura. Mr. Bona, you have 15 minutes. This is pre-recorded, yeah? Please, Puan Ina. Thank you.
Nice to meet you all here. My name is Bonaventura Satya Barata, and you can call me Bona. I am from.
We cannot hear. Ina, kuatkan sikit.
I will explain about our article. The title is Constructing Reality Using Science: His Storytelling in Malaysia by the Indonesian Media. Let's see about the background. Indonesia and Malaysia are two neighboring countries in Southeast Asia. Geographical proximity causes the two countries to share many similarities. But the many similarities do not always make the two countries live in harmony. Indonesia and Malaysia has several problems. Among these problems is haze caused by forest and land fires in Indonesia. Forest and land fires have been one of the environmental problems facing Indonesia since the 1990s. The impact is not only felt by Indonesia, but also by international community such as Malaysia and Singapore. The size of the fire area and the impact caused this event to receive comprehensive media coverage. The Indonesian mass media highlight the impact of the forest fires and the government efforts to address this problem. The Indonesian mass media also reported on the impact of forest and the land fires on relations between the two countries. For problem statement, the mass media have a central role in reporting on the problem of forest and land fires. It's because the mass media face two problems, namely environmental issues and problems with Indonesia-Malaysia relations. The mass media has a dual responsibility, namely protecting the environment and maintaining harmony between Indonesia and Malaysia. Past research show that in the media context, which must maintain a harmonious relationship between Indonesia and Malaysia, the Indonesian mass media tends to be unbalanced and has a provocative attitude, even though the Indonesian people rely on the mass media to understand the problems in the relationship between the two countries. In the context of the impact of haze due to forest fires, there was a virtual clash between netizens of the two countries on social media, especially on Twitter in 2015. It's important to understand how media constructed the issues of haze for public understanding. For research question, we have two research questions. The first, how do Indonesian mass media uses the science for reporting on the impact of the Indonesian haze in Malaysia? And the second, what are the considerations made by Indonesian journalists in using this science? For theoretical framework, we use two theories. The first, construction of social reality, we know that the construction of social reality said that each media has its own interpretation when they coverage the reality. It's because each media has different social and cultural contexts. The second theory is environmental journalism ethics. This ethics from Asian Federation of Environmental Journalists, 1998. For methodology, we use qualitative research and we use two collecting data. The first, qualitative content analysis with social visual semiotics. We analyze 37 news items and interview. We interview a journalist and an editor from each media. For research object, we use kompas.com and antaranews.com. Kompas.com is private news online in Indonesia. It's part from Kompas Gramedia Group, the giant group media in Indonesia. And antaranews.com is part of news agency of Antara, operated and owned by Indonesian government. Let's discuss about finding discussion. For the first, words and phrases. For writing headline and news bodies, antaranews.com and kompas.com predominantly use the active verbs with denotative meaning. The use of passive verbs or phrases is more for variety so that the reader does not get bored quickly. Active verb for antaranews.com indicate the bad haze in Malaysia and to show an attitude or joint response between Indonesia and Malaysia in facing the haze. Meanwhile, kompas.com use active verbs to describe Malaysia's active action to protect its citizens from the haze and to show Malaysia's assertive attitude towards Indonesia. In research interview, we found that antaranews.com considered statements or words from news sources with sharp nuances as headlines. Meanwhile, kompas.com considers the form of verb or passive phrases because it sounds firm. Both media felt the need to do this to attract or to steal the audience's attention. Both media need to continue to be careful in choosing words or phrases for news writing. In environmental journalism ethics, said that journalists should avoid writing stories that create feeling of worry or discomfort in the reader. Moreover, the problem of haze concerns the relationship between the two countries. For storyline and news angle, apart from talking about the impact of the haze in several regions in Malaysia, antaranews.com also tells about the communication between the Indonesian and Malaysian government to address the haze problem. The research interview showed that although this media is an official institution of Indonesian government, it still tries to provide as complete information as possible from various parties, not only from Indonesia but also from Malaysia, so that the readers or the audience can understand the factual events. Environmental journalism ethics state that journalists need to write news from various sides to avoid interference with interests. Kompas.com wrote three themes. The first, the impact of the haze on the life of Malaysian people. The second, the reaction of the Malaysian public and government. And the third is responses from the Indonesian government. Difference with antara.com, kompas.com gives Malaysia a dominant position. Research interview in Kompas showed that kompas.com is careful to determine the angle of the news. Kompas.com did not directly state that Indonesia was right and Malaysia was wrong. Kompas.com will first look at the facts of the incident, then conclude. Environmental journalism ethics states that the journalists need to create equality or information justice, especially from the parties involved in an event. For three, news sources or tenor of discourse. Antaranews.com provide relatively balanced opportunities between news sources from the two countries. Kompas.com provides much room for Malaysian news sources to have a voice. But both media also use official and credible sources. In environmental journalism ethics states that the media need to ensure the authenticity of news sources to provide credible statement. For news photo, both media use long shoot and extreme long shoot photo framing techniques for landscape showing bad haze in Malaysia. Long shoot and extreme long shoot techniques for landscape are usually used to invite the audience to observe and imagine the landscape atmosphere, while the medium shot technique is used to display photo in the form of news sources. Environmental journalism ethics emphasize the importance of journalists in a building audience empathy attitude toward environmental disasters. Both media also use icon photo as news photo. Icon photo is photos that match the reality reported. However, several antaranews.com news photo display icons that are not directly related to the reality being reported. For conclusion, first, according to the first theory, construction social of reality, each media has its own interpretation of the haze incident in Malaysia. The meaning of haze in Malaysia for antaranews.com is Malaysia was particularly severely affected by the haze. Therefore, Malaysia is willing to help Indonesia for handling this incident. However, Indonesia asked Malaysia to take firm action against several Malaysia companies that are suspected of being involved in the forest and land fires. Antaranews.com seeks to position the haze problem as a common problem between the two countries, Indonesia and Malaysia. Indonesia is source of haze, but Malaysia was also involved in this incident. The meaning of haze in Kompas.com, public and government activities in Malaysia had stopped due to the haze from Indonesia. It seems that the Indonesian government has not done much to address the haze problem, so that Malaysia needs to urge Indonesia to solve the problem of forest and land fires immediately. Kompas.com seeks to position itself to criticize the Indonesian government. It was done by borrowing from the hazing incident in Malaysia to pressure the Indonesian government to resolve this problem. And conclusion 2, this research analyzes 5 aspects of science: burst and presses, storylines, news sources, photo technique, and photo material. In addition, this study also conducted interview with journalists and media editor in each media. Overall, there are no complex problems that stand out from the perspective of environmental journalism ethics. It's just that both media need to pay attention to writing headline and selecting photo. The media needs to write a title and choose an attractive photo to attract audience attention. However, when the audience read the headlines and looks at the news photo, the audience can also have a different meaning than the media expected. Environmental journalism ethics strongly recommends that the media avoid audience discomfort in environmental reporting. Moreover, the issue concerns the relationship between the two countries. Okay, I think it's enough for presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Pak Bona. Can we have one question, please? Because we need to go to the other room for a closing ceremony. One pressing question. Anyone, please? Yes, please, Dr. Rakib.
Assalamualaikum Pak Bona. Selamat petang Pak Bona.
Waalaikumsalam, Rakib.
Selamat petang. Terima kasih. Pak, I just want to ask a question ya Pak. Yeah. In terms of the ownership of these two newspapers, is there any influence in reporting regarding Malaysia and also Indonesia?
The ownership from each media not directly influence the news, but for antaranews.com have kesadaran have started, but if the media is owned by government, if owned by government, so the media is have to menjaga agar berita tidak menyindir salah satu pihak, seperti itu, like that. And Kompas is private media in Indonesia, and they said that the angle of Kompas is about criticize the Indonesian government, and not only include the Malaysia directly to just only borrowing the incident of haze in Malaysia to pressure the Indonesian government to solve the problem. I think like that, Mr. Rakib.
Okay, thank you, Pak.
Thank you very much. Is there any one short question? One more? No? Are you sure? Okay then, if there is none, okay, Dr. Dadang, please go ahead.
This is not a question. Ini bukan pertanyaan, Pak Bona.
Oh
this
yeah,
is only just
suggestion.
Pak Bona, you can join with Dr. Nick, who has good environmental studies research.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dadang. That is.
Thank you.
Thank you, because that's my area, environmental journalism. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. With that, I think I would like to thank the last presenter, that is Pak Bona, and those questions and suggestions from Dr. Rakib and also Dr. Dadang. I appreciate your attendance up to now. Okay, can we make just a quick, can we all switch on your webcam so that we can take a good photo? Is that possible? Is that possible? Hold on.
And
okay.
Could you please post the photo in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Basit, Puan Azlina, Dr. Rani, and Juan Zhu, would you like to switch on your webcam, please, so that we can take picture? Okay, sorry. Okay, you have problem. Okay. Okay, Rakib can also help, yeah? I try, but Rakib is an expert on this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 minute. I'm not an expert, but I try. Okay, another one, please. Okay, hold on. Okay, another one. All right. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, everyone. I will share the picture. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope you can join the closing ceremony. Yeah. Closing ceremony, and I hope we can meet again in the next conferences, maybe in Indonesia, yeah, or in Abu Dhabi, is it, Dr. Constantine? Okay, or in China, yeah, or in Bangladesh. Thank you very much.
Everywhere.
Thank you.
Everywhere.
Thank you, Dr. Nick.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Dr. Nick.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Nick. Terima kasih semuanya. Thank you.